These are Jonathan and Gina's kids, 7 of them. Gina is pregnant with the 8th. Jonathan says it wasn't their plan.
It's the path God took us down, kicking and screaming for a little while there. He's got a sense of humor. We thought 2, maybe 3, and then he let us know he had other plans.
And when Jonathan's insurance rate started going up and the babies kept coming, Jonathan and Gina kept praying. The Velezes are now convinced that their prayers were answered when they found a Christian healthcare program called Samaritan Ministries. It's one of the 4 largest health-sharing ministries in the U.S. that Congress exempted from Obamacare regulations because they were in business prior to the year 2000.
It's a ministry that thrives on obviously having Christian church members helping other Christian church members, and that I feel is the proper biblical view when it comes to something like this in healthcare. It's I can help my brother, I can help my neighbor, and they will help me. And that's a love system versus a corporate concept.
Completely non-denominational Christians from all across, Baptist, Presbyterian, Pentecostal, Catholic, every single stripe of Christianity. I think we've got a member representing that.
James Lansbury is the Executive Vice President of Samaritan Ministries.
We started in 1994 with just a handful of families and have grown over the last 20 plus years into over 60,000 families, over 200,000 people who are sharing now over $15 million a month in medical bills. I think last month we might hit $17 million.
I'm calling from Samaritan Ministries.
Christian health-sharing ministries are different from insurance companies in that they collect monthly dues and distribute the money to subscribers with medical bills. At Samaritan, members send their payments directly to the families in need.
The process begins with letting Samaritan know that you need to submit a need. So they send you a form, you fill it all out, send it in, they review it. They decide this is the amount that we can publish as far as what will be covered. This is where your amount needs to go to. Our name would be on that ticket.
So every month we publish a newsletter in which each person gets a personalized slip of paper that we call share slip that instructs them which person that they're sharing with this month. So for a family of 3 or more, our share is $405. So this month I got one, and it says that I'm going to send my share to, I'm going to make up names here, John Smith in Denton, Texas.
It seemed strange at first to think of members sending you a check. Are these people going to be reliable?
Lansbury says fewer than 5% renege on their payments, and when it does happen, he says other subscribers immediately fill in the gap.
We are going to be helping out somebody this month who has had chest pain, so they were in the hospital for that.
Okay.
If you talk to our members, this is the favorite bill they get to pay every month because they're not writing a check to a big company.
Josh and Jenny Lehman joined Samaritan in 2011. She's a former public school teacher who now home teaches their 3 kids. He's a licensed clinical counselor who deals with mental health issues. Samaritan seemed like a good match, just on principle, Josh says, as do most subscribers, but the price was also a factor.
It was also significantly more cost effective for us as a family. When we were looking at the health insurance, it was going to be very, very expensive for our family. And since that time, health insurance costs have only gone up.
Samaritan's costs have gone up about 8% a year, but the nonprofit doesn't offer nearly as much coverage as traditional insurance. Kevin Lucia is an insurance researcher at the McCourt School of Public Policy at Georgetown University.
I mean, you never want to wake up in the morning with an illness that's going to basically require $1 million of services with a plan that only covers $250,000.
He says there are simply too many gaps in Christian health coverage.
You know, when you buy an individual policy from an insurance company, they have to cover hospitalization, they have to cover doctor visits, they have to cover mental illness, they have to cover prescription drugs. Some of these benefits are not covered under these arrangements.
With Samaritan, medical bills under $300 are not covered, and pre-existing conditions are only allowed if they've been in remission for specified periods of time with no medical treatment. Cancer, for instance, would have to be in complete remission for 5 years. Subscribers are also required to live a clean, healthy life, physically and religiously. Samaritan refers to it as a biblical lifestyle, and that includes no homosexual activity, no extramarital affairs.
You agree that, you will not be smoking, you will not be doing drugs, you will be attending church regularly. Those commitments build confidence.
The local church is the hub of spiritual accountability. And so when the member sends in their original application and when they send in their continuation form each year, they can't continue their membership, they can't join until the pastor signs off. But another thing we don't share is we never ever share any bills related to the abortion of a living child. That's a big deal, and that's why a lot of our members join.
I pledge allegiance.
Gina Velez homeschools all 7 of her children. The 3 most recent were born using Samaritan coverage. What were you paying before?
Between $5,000 and $6,000 per pregnancy and birth.
And under Samaritan, how much are you paying?
Well, it depends on my midwife, but this midwife is $4,500.
So you use a midwife?
Yes.
So she comes here?
Yes.
To your
I've had
house, huh?
for the last 3.
When bills go over Samaritan's cap of $250,000, the ministry informs subscribers that additional contributions would be greatly appreciated. It's called a special request, and apparently a lot of subscribers send extra money.
The largest single need that we've had is an ongoing cancer need, which has produced a significant number of bills over a month. It's over about $3 million total right now.
I tend to get very nervous about finances, but it was God just telling me, don't worry about this right now. It's going to work out. It's going to work out. Just focus on your baby.
When Jenny was giving birth to her youngest daughter, there were complications. Hope was born with a respiratory infection that kept her in the hospital several days.
So you received the equivalent of $32,000 from people around the country. Wow.
And then about 11,000 more for the maternity need. And people praying for little Hope as she grows and for our family. It was just a huge encouragement. Okay.
The cards and
Sometimes
prayers
people
that come along with
would-
the checks seem to have a special value to recipients like the Layman's.
This is from Indiana, and it says, "Praise God that your daughter Hope is now healthy."
The person wrote, "We praise God for the beautiful gift He has blessed you with. Our world is brighter and more wonderful with hope."
Kevin Lucia, the Georgetown insurance researcher, is not a fan of Christian health ministries, partly because they are unregulated and he thinks the coverage is risky.
I know that there are a number of states out there where the Department of Insurance had heard of concerns and tried to regulate these type of arrangements in the past.
So-called safe harbor statutes are in place in 30 states, allowing these ministries to operate with no regulatory oversight. Subscribers cannot sue Samaritan, but the ministry does have an in-house appeals process.
As long as we can keep the members happy, we're going to continue to expect to grow.
At the end of the day, like my wife said, I'm not depending on an insurance, and I'm not depending ultimately on Samaritan. I'm depending on God.
And that may explain the growth of Christian health sharing ministries. For Religion and Ethics NewsWeekly, I'm Lucky Severson in Peoria, Illinois.